harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zymet.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show. And this is where being the best you can be is just going to get easier, right? And so my guest today, joining me from Colombia, South America, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Her name is Alejandra Rojas.
Yay, perfect.
Yay! And I don't even speak Spanish. Very muy poquito, whatever.
Yes. Oh, no. That's absolutely awesome. And thank you so much for having me in your show.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's an honor. It's an honor. And you told me here recently that you're actually born and raised in Colombia, but you've been doing some traveling and stuff, and all of a sudden you found yourself back home.
Yeah.
Not really for a permanent type of extended visit, but all of a sudden things changed, didn't it?
Yes. I think like worldwide the things change. But yes, I live in New Zealand. My home base is in New Zealand, but we travel a lot. So as a reward of all the work that we did last year, we planned a 3 months trip starting January, supposed to finish before March. With Colombia being the last stop. But yes, COVID-19 got in between our plans. Now we are here until new order. So,
Well,
yeah.
I guess it could be worse. You could be somewhere where you don't know anybody or anything, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
And it was really funny because we had our plane back to New Zealand one day, like I think it was Tuesday 2 weeks ago. And the same day, 3 hours before our flight, the borders were closed. Like we were going on our way to the airport. So it is really meant to be that we need to be here. For some
good.
reason, for something, it's I just need to be here. And I understood that from the universe. Like, okay, I'm staying here. No, I'm not finding more.
You can't change it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I'm a believer in that as well. Spirit puts us where we need to be when we're supposed to be there. And now is the time really to be with family, right? And to get back into that foundation of what family is all about. And so it is a good place to be. And, and you said we. So who is the we that's
yes,
with you?
my partner and I, we travel together.
Okay.
Um, and we are with family, yes, and you're absolutely right with that. Um, when this thing pop up of COVID-19, I was on a space of so much anxiety because I wanted to go back home in New Zealand and to be on
Right.
our home, right? And we were like, I'm not good here. We need to change flight. I'm not good. I'm not good. And all that repeated on my brain the whole time until the point that we bought new tickets to go New Zealand before date. But everything of this happened. It's like just listen that you need to be here now and that
Right.
it will be okay and it's your family and you're right, it could be a lot worse. We could be stuck in somewhere that we don't have anything,
Right.
but instead we got each other today, so it's really what it matters at the end of the day.
Yes, that is so true. And sometimes we forget that, right? Because we're so busy being wrapped up in the outside world and what we want to do and where we're going. And, life is always exciting. But sometimes it's best to just like step back and just be where it
Yeah,
is that you're supposed to be and become aware of that. It's not always easy and it's not always what we want, but like you say, at the end of the day, it really is where you need to be. So
absolutely. And on my work, I'm a money and mindset coach. So I teach people how to deal with finances, entrepreneurs, how to get the financial life on track for you to follow your dreams, your business. And on my work and on my personal experience, 80% of the work is just here. 80% of the
That's
thing
right.
is I can teach you all the strategy, all we can do budgets every single day if you want. But until you don't know yourself so good and until you don't know how to start listening what's happening around you in order to grow internally, it won't matter anymore. So I really am telling you from personal experience just what I've been through lately. I can do whatever I want and I can have all the money to buy all the tickets that I want. But if the universe wants me to be here, I'm going to be here. And
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
it.
There still is that higher power out there that's gonna get you, right?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and you're correct. 80% of it is up here, right? And this is where it has to begin, right?
Yes.
Because it's your belief system, your trust, your confidence, that
Yes.
it's knowing who you are from the inside out so that you can progress in whatever it is that you're choosing to do. And that awareness, it all comes back to that awareness.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason I started my business was because 2 years ago, I was checking all the things of what a successful person supposed to have. Like I was I won a scholarship. I went to United States to work even before graduating. Like everything that you could imagine a successful lady from 22 years old, 23 at the time, could have. I had it, but I was following such an automatic pilot, like following whatever my coworkers were doing, or following whatever my family told me that I was supposed to chase as a successful person, that I completely forgot about me. And I ended up being burnt out because of money, even though that I study money. Like my bachelor degree is on finances and my postgraduate diploma as well. Like I love these things, and I didn't know how to get myself out of that burning out, because literally my body, like I fainted on my work. Literally my body was telling me, you know what, if you don't want to slow down, I'm gonna slow you down, because what you're doing right now, it doesn't have anything to do with the external world. It has to do with you. It has
Exactly.
internally. So because I'm being really since a little girl, I've been really sensitive about my power, my mind power, due to a health condition that I had when I was 6 years old. I'm really mindful about the power my mind has every single time. And when that happened, when I burned out, I asked myself, what am I doing? And why am I doing this? And when I start to create that self awareness and asking myself, why am I doing this? And really putting it together into what I love as a professional, which is finances, I came out with this realization of, look, either way, money is going to be spent. Either you act on automatic pilot or you really start living intentionally your life, because at that point I felt my dreams go I went like on this side, and what people was telling me to do were in the other direction, and I didn't know what to follow. Like I really had to close myself and start knowing myself again with that self-awareness, to really put everything to work towards the things that I wanted, towards my happiness. Because the reality was that during all that time, the only thing that I was losing was, again, time, but my health. Like I was
Right.
going backwards again to have that health condition that I suffered when I was 6 that affected my immune system. So when I realized, like, am I doing this for what? Am I doing this to say, yes, I'm doing it? Am I doing this to say to my friends, I have this, I have that? Or am I doing it for me? And then everything starts to started to flip around and say, oh my God, I've been spending the last 6 months on things that they don't matter to me at all. Like I could live without them. But I didn't know until that. I didn't know until that point because I didn't do my work internally first. Like it's like, yeah, maybe one pair of shoes is beautiful, but if you don't like it, well, you don't like it, and that's how you determine what it's important to you and to other person. But when we are going in that in life without that self-awareness, what it causes, and on my case, what it caused me was that I was going backwards towards my health condition. And it was really the point where I say, okay, you want to follow this road of successfulness that you want to follow? Okay, go ahead. But then you don't have your health. Or you really stop now and say what you want to do and commit yourself to follow your definition of success, which is traveling and being healthy. And of course, in that process, a lot of things come around, a lot of things of acceptance from your social circle, from my friends, a lot of people. I say, what are you doing? A lot of judgments around that it made not easy that track. But once I went out of that place, once I went out of that place of feeling down the whole time, no matter what I did, it was a completely and absolutely different world. And nothing externally changed. It was just here, my mind,
Exactly.
my perception.
Right. And and you're wise. You're very wise for your age, young lady, and that's great to discover that about yourself and to actually follow through with it and do, what it is that you want, because a lot of times we go through life being what we think other people want us to be and living our life the way we think other people want it to be or they tell us to be, and all these things. And we forget about
Yes,
the most important person, which is ourselves, right?
absolutely.
And to be able to recognize that, that your health was going down, because it doesn't take very long for that health to spiral in the wrong direction. But it takes a whole lot more to get it to come back up and to keep it up, right? Right?
Absolutely.
And so to have that, mindset at such an early age is beautiful. And to hear you speak about that, you're a wise soul. And it warms my heart, because you're going to go places and you're going to help people change their lives. Not just financially, with the help that you can give them, but also with your mindset and what you do, and to be able to say, hey, it starts here. All the money in the world, no matter what it is not going to bring gratification in here and
Exactly.
fulfillment and purpose, right? And so don't be afraid to step out and be all that you can be, so you can be you're a great inspiration for a lot of kids your age, those that are starting to come up in that age, and even for a lot of us that are much older than you, listening to you talk and to be able to get out of that pattern. So it depends on the environment that you've been growing up in, and your belief system as you go back in time. It's just the way it was,
Yes.
but it doesn't have to stay that way. So
Exactly.
yeah, that's right. So it's young people like you that are saying, hey, I don't want to be like my mom and dad. I don't want to be like my grandparents. I don't want to be this generational whatever. I am going to be me and
That's the
fulfill
point.
me, right? Because
Yeah.
it is about the self at all, and it begins in here, and knowing your identity and really learning and picking that up at an early age, and then to follow through with it is beautiful. So it's a great message, for every age bracket, and it doesn't matter what that age is when you get it, and then you can really accept that and step into your own power by understanding who you are and what your identity is and your purpose, and then walk out into it and start living it. Don't talk it, walk it, right?
Exactly.
You know,
Yes. Yeah.
So, and you can recognize that conflict. So if you talk a talk, but you don't walk a talk, there's conflict,
Yeah.
right? And it will take its toll. And
Yes.
so,
I was lucky enough at this point. I say I was lucky enough to have it because at 6 years old, the doctors they were not really positive I could live after 6 years old. So when life gave me the opportunity to continue living, it was like I got the decision how to live this life. I have now the power if I want to waste all these years doing whatever people say is good, or I want to discover it by myself.
mm-hmm.
Of course, on that path, I came out to the grown up world, and I started seeing that people does different stuff, and you want to try those different stuff. But when you feel inside that that's not a person that you want to be, you shouldn't be afraid of saying, I don't want to be that person. I want to be
Right.
this and I want to be that. And it's allowed to dream as big as you want, as long as you are true to yourself. Like I remember telling one of my coworkers at the time, I say, it's fine. Like the job I had, it was absolutely fine for a person of my age, was like amazing. I say, I know that's great, but that doesn't mean anything to me. Like it means something now because it allowed me to start discovering this world and a new country. That's great, but not for the sake of that. I want to be a different person. I didn't come all this way onto here to say I'm gonna go and start the 9 to 5 and just hang out with my coworkers and stay grounded to buy a house. That's not the definition of success that I have.
Yeah.
And I had to stand up for it, and I had to make people mad, and I had to put boundaries, and I had to understand that some people around me, they wouldn't like that, and they will stop talking to me, and I had to be okay with it because in order to find me I had to lose them. So that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I could go to sleep and say it doesn't matter because I'm doing what I like.
Right.
Right. So it really, it has been a process that I wish with every speaking opportunity that I have with all my coaching, that people really gets it. That when, and especially talking about money, when money troubles come onto the surface, they are not really money troubles. They are
No,
internal
no, they're
problems.
not. That's right. That's right. That's right. And when
Yeah,
sometimes we use excuses so that we don't have
exactly.
to look in here, right? You made a statement that just really caught my ear. You said, I had to be willing to lose them to find me. And do you know how many people, especially women, right, turn that around? I have to lose me to have them,
Yes.
right? Because we don't want to feel rejected, we don't want to feel alone, we don't want to be judged, right? And so we start just kind of following that system that, oh, if I'm going to be accepted into this caliber of success, if I'm going to be with this group of people, if I'm going to have this, I'm going to be able to do on and on and on and on and on,
Yeah.
then I have to lose this to have that, which is
Yeah.
so wrong.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a very strong message for our audience to hear and to really start thinking about what that means. To be willing to lose out here so that you can gain everything in here, right? Because you're really not losing anything out here when you gain all of who you are. Everything out here changes, and you can have that form of success that you're looking for and be true to yourself with it, and then be in fulfillment and gratitude because it's your purpose to do and serve on that level instead of getting caught up in what everybody else thinks you should be doing, right?
Yes, and it's something that you said there, like when we find ourselves, our fulfillment, we realize how much we have of something that we were looking for the whole.
Right. Right.
When I went through this process, I was so screaming out that I wanted to have so much fun on my life that I didn't want to continue living that robot stuff. And then when I started to change inside, I was like, I'm having so much fun on my life. It was just a matter of really focusing on what I wanted for me to fulfill myself. And yes, of course, in that process, I lost a lot of things that on the moment it represent like a, oh my God, this person doesn't talk to me anymore. Am I doing the right thing? Or maybe I
Right.
just continue my mouth shut. But then after that, say, I cannot be with that person if that person doesn't accept what I want to do. And that was the whole thing around. And I talk a lot with my friends about this because is that your real friend, whoever left you when you decided that you want to do something else?
Right.
Perhaps not. So why are you wasting your thoughts and your energy thinking about, I'm going to lose this person if I'm my true self? Well, they are not really meant to be on your life then.
Exactly. And again, sometimes we reach out and we feel that we have to have that because we don't want to be alone. There's billions of people in the world, right? And you will find someone that can respect you and honor you for who you are and not who you think you need to be, right?
Yes.
And so if you're not accepting the true you in all that you are, others are not going to accept you for that way either. And those that are, they're a little more dominant, right? They can be aggressive because they want you to be around because they like your energy, your spirit, or whatever, right? And they can kind of draw off of that, and draw off your energy and everything. So they want to keep that around so that they can keep drinking from that pot, shall we say, right? And try to manipulate you to stay there because they don't want to lose that for what it is at themselves. And usually what happens is they are so in fear of
Mm-hmm.
getting to know themselves or doing something different, that they have to keep their circle of people that they know close by them to make them feel good and feel on purpose because they don't have the strength, maybe, shall we say, to step out of and really take a deep look at who they are and be all that they can be, because they don't value themselves, they don't respect themselves, they don't know who they are, and they're afraid to know who they are because they're thinking, well, everybody likes me this way, and if I become who I really am, then nobody's going to want to be around me or like me or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
our minds play crazy games with us all the time, right?
Yes, and along with that, one thing that I learned is, and you hear it all the time, but when you really embody the learning of, you are responsible of what you say and what you feel, but you cannot be responsible of how other people feel and interpret what you said. And
Right.
along the way, like when I started this process of pulling around the things so I can follow my definition of success, it was like I was telling people how I wanted to be, how I felt, and they had such a different interpretation of what I said. And then at the beginning, I was starting feeling like, wait, but I didn't say that. I'm sorry if I wanted to have that justification so they didn't feel bad about it. But after a while, say, look, this is about me. It's not about you. How you take the things, it's your responsibility. How I need to take care of myself. And this is the way I want to walk my path. If you're
Right.
okay with it or if you are not okay with it, it's your problem, literally. And I don't want to be rude, but I wanted to be strict, because the more boundaries you put to protect yourself, the better you and the faster you can do this progress
Right.
of putting everything aligned.
Right. That is so true. So true, right? And I tell my clients, basically the same thing. It doesn't matter what other people think of you. It matters what you think of you. Because you're the one that has to live in this vessel, right?
Yes.
Right? So if you want to have the ultimate happiness, if you want to have the ultimate success, if you want to have whatever that is, it has to come from inside here, because it's not going to come out here at all. You'll never find it out there. It all has to start in here, and what you are an expression of in here is what you become the expression out there. And like you say, you don't want to be rude to other people, but at the same time, it's like they're not hearing what you're saying, because all they're seeing and feeling is, I'm going to lose her. She's going to go away.
Yes.
Right? Right?
Yeah, and that's the part of the belief system. So when we are around of things that hurt us in the past and everything, you already create an idea on your head. So when you are responsible of how you feel, you are responsible of what you believe and what your actions will lead to believe as well.
Right.
But you cannot be responsible of somebody else's system belief. Like they had their own things, they had their own experiences, and you don't know what's the thinking process around. So it's like understanding as well that they will think different. Oh, 1 second. I don't even know what it is. Oh. Yes, understanding that they will think different to you. It's also part of self-awareness, because it cannot be really dedicated just to yourself. You cannot be that selfish to really think that everybody will think the same way that you do.
Right. Because
That's
they don't.
exactly. So that's the two phases of the coin, that you're responsible for what you think and your and belief system, but also you need to be open and willing to understand that people won't understand or think the same way that you do, and you gotta be okay with it.
Exactly. Exactly. And again, it's when you're living in your passion and on your path, and maintaining that, it's an honoring of yourself in a respect, right? But you also have to have that honor for that other person. You may not like what they do, you may not feel comfortable with some of the things that they do, but at the same time, this is their choices, and if you want them to honor you for your choices, then you need to honor them for theirs as well, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do, right? Especially if it's somebody close to you, right? Like a child or a sibling or a parent, or and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
right?
And you get to a point, and in my personal experience, when I was going through this, I didn't know how to tell my parents, because we are Latin. Family for Latin people is like the main thing. So you are used to ask for more than advice, permission to do this stuff. Even when you're 40, 50, whatever, you gotta talk to your parents. And it was really hard for me to understand that they do it for the best and they give you advice,
Right.
but if it doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve me. So it's really a self awareness of being your own filter.
That's a good
being
way to
your,
put it.
yes, being
That's a
your
very
own
good way to put
filter.
it.
Because again, if you continue carrying this other system belief in your life from external situations, if you continue carrying these other ideas, if you continue carrying so much things from the external world and you don't pay attention to yourself, you're gonna be lost forever. And you're gonna, on that process, you're going to lose whatever you want, your dreams, your money, your health, like you name it. You're gonna lose it, because at the end of the day, who can keep up with that? Like how you gonna keep up with something that is not yours? You get tired.
Oh, yes, that's for sure. Yeah, because it's a facade, right? And every day that that facade is spinning around in here, it gets harder and more complicated. It's like telling a lie, right?
Uh,
And how many people did you tell it to, and well, what did you say, and did you add to it over here, right? And it just keeps on growing and growing and growing and festering because it goes against the inner who that you really are. So you've got that inner conflict, and it's to recognize what that inner conflict is. So the sooner you can learn that you have this inner being that knows best, that you can start to progress. And so, like I said, you're definitely ahead of your time in in how you
yes.
think and how you perform and how you express yourself. It's beautiful to see that coming from uh, the young person that you are, and to be able to let other young people hear what you have to say, that it's okay to really be true to yourself, and to do it in a manner that's not abruptive or abrasive or with anger, right? To just say no. It's just like, wait a minute. This is my vessel, this is my life, these are my thoughts, these are my beliefs. Please honor me for that, as
Yeah.
I honor you for what you are, and I will support you, and that's all I'm asking in return. Just because it's not something you would choose, it's my choosing, and I want you to honor me for that and be able to go on, rather than getting all upset and going off in anger and creating distance, right? Because the more that happens, the further apart you get, and as the years go by, it only builds and gets more uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And especially if it's family, right? There's you know not that bond that needs to be there, but to be able to have that conversation again, conversing, open conversations, and listening, really listening to what the child has to say, listening to what the young adult has to say, listening to what the parent has to say, listen to what the grandparents have to say, because you take all that into perspective, you can start having that balance without separation and still be true to yourself, right?
Yes, and I don't know if you can hear, but it just started to rain, and I love it because that's a clear sign of the universe that we are meant to be. It didn't rain for a while, so I'm really loving it. So if you hear some background noise, it's just because of that.
Okay, no, I don't, but I get
Oh,
you, because, yeah, the sound of rain is so refreshing because it
yeah,
is cleansing, and again, you're aware of the things that are around you. And for me, and some of the teachings that I do is is to be aware of everything around you, because everything is a message, right? Everything is a message, and it's a beautiful sign. So when you talk about, it raining, and you go back and look at the conversation that we're having, right? It is about cleansing, right?
yeah,
And cleansing away that doesn't serve you, to bring in and to grow. Rain is the symbol of nurturing, right? Because when the seed is planted, it starts its gestation to where it starts to grow, right? And
yeah,
so these are new thoughts, new programs, new beginnings, right? And it all starts there, because it's that nurturing process and it's that cleansing process at the same time. So it all does come together when you
yeah.
start looking at what are these messages all around us.
Yes, and I love it. And with that as well, to be open to have these conversations, and just considering that the rain just really it gets me energy. It's start these conversations with love. There is
Right.
no more powerful emotion, feeling, and thing that you can have to have these type of conversations with yourself and with everyone around you than starting with love. There is two things that we are best known to do as a human beings, and the first is judge, and the second one is point, like it's your fault, no, it's the other one's fault, it's the other one's fault. And you cannot point anyone, you cannot say,
Mm.
and you cannot judge You can just be open with love and start really having these conversations without those destructive self thoughts, without those judgments, and really start to have the conversation that you want to have with yourself first, and create and co-create after that as well. It's really important.
Exactly.
It's really important that you give yourself a break, basically. You're not you're not doing something wrong. You are not the wrong person that you think you are. You are not the I don't know, all the things that comes on our head
Right.
when something is not going good. It's not your fault. And just start from there. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes. Now, what's the love question that you want to ask for yourself? If you were going to talk to somebody that you love so much and you don't want to hurt, how you want to start that conversation with yourself? And that's really what I do with all of my clients first, because there is not a space here to continue judging or pointing to some guilty person.
Right.
Here is just a space for a start to love ourselves. And the more we love ourselves, the easier we are going to find was the thing that we always wanted to follow, but for some reason we are not doing at the moment.
Exactly. Exactly. So true. So true. And it is about love. I mean, we have two main emotions that everything is built on. One is love, and the other is fear.
Yeah,
And it's interesting with the circumstances of what's going on globally. It's not just one country or another now, it's global, right?
yeah,
And so where are you? What are you basing your actions on, and your thoughts on, and your direction? Are you basing them from a fear-based belief, or from a love-based belief?
yeah,
Where are we going to go? It's a world of duality. You can't have both. You can't have both at the same time. You either have one or the other. What side of the fence are you going to be on? I wrote a book called What Side of the Fence Are You On? And it basically talks about all the different dualities, right? Because you can't be in both worlds at the same time, right? Did we lose you, Alejandra? I know she was talking earlier about the possibility of the internet because it's been a little fluctuating down there. So many people are on the internet, and we're seeing that in a lot of areas where we are. So different parts of the country, different parts of the world are going to have maybe a little bit of issues when it comes to that. And again, it's technology, and we do with what we have. We work around what we have. But I hope you've enjoyed the spirit of this little girl who has been here today and has joined us. And maybe she'll pop back on. But her name is Alejandra. Yes, let me put her picture up here. Alejandra Rojas. Becoming rich, just being you. And when she talks about those riches, it's more than money. She is a financial coach, way beyond her years in how she interprets and how she does things. And to be able to share that and to hear that kind of wisdom from such a young spirit, to me, warms my heart. And I know if you've watched this, go back and listen to it again. And what can you do to change your world? The theme here is to become that best you that you can be. And what does that mean? That means being true to yourself, and where it starts, right? Being true to yourself, and then walk your talk and be an expression of it. And honor everyone you come in contact with. When you honor them, they will in return honor you. And who is in your circle that's going to give you what you need for support and what you need to be fulfilled in being all that you can be. So that's going to be the show for today. Thank you all for joining us. And again, comment below. And if you want to get a hold of me, reach out, PM, comment. If you want to get a hold of Alejandra, go ahead and comment below as well. And let's be united as one, because we are all one. So go out there and be that best you that you can be, because Alejandra and I are going to be the best we that we can be and continue that message. Everyone have a great day wherever it is on the planet you are, and we'll see you on the next show.